Hello and welcome back, FOF family. And it looks like that Poseidon Gaming has put us on match point in their matchup against Team Udyr. This is 0-2 so far. Let's
Oh
see if
boy.
Broom is coming out or we're gonna have a reverse sweep the other way. Who knows? But this is the third game, and I cannot wait to see how this last game is gonna end up for us.
Yeah, last time we saw another case of Photograph getting the early lead, but it not mattering because, Crow's just going to get that lead right back. Bobrovsky with the repeated bot lane ganks, just propelling Crow back into the game with the incredibly strong Samira here that we saw last time. And, we'll see if we get another Samira pick out from Crow or if we're going to see, like, the Jinx. We see the Lulu band out from Poseidon Gaming. And what are Udyr gonna pick on first pick here? The Camille.
They're gonna lock in the Camille first pick, but we have to see Udyr put more of an emphasis on protecting their bot lane. That's been the consistent issue, is that they've let their bot lane been punished. Bobrovsky spent a lot of time bot side. They've basically map split 2 games in a row. So let's see, with them having selected Camille is probably showing that they're indicating and indexing in an opposite direction, but hopefully they're going to put in a little bit more pressure and a little bit more utility to prevent their bot lane from getting run over the way it has been.
And Poseidon Gaming, they're gonna go with the early set pick, which still can flex. That's Senna is on the board, so you could even see that bot lane as well as mid lane. I doubt that you would see it in the jungle because that's fallen mostly out of meta at this point. Though I wouldn't be too surprised to see it go mid lane or even support if Ecto plays it.
Yeah, there's a lot of versatility on this pick, but if Braum is locked in early, it looks like that's going to be the case with the quick switch to Thresh. So with the Thresh being taken, you know that its set is going to be going into a solo lane. It's not really played in the jungle. Interesting that they would take Camille so early in the draft when you know that that's not something Crit Addict is likely to play. He hasn't been playing it very often, so unless you're really indexing on it not being banned, there's not really much of a reason to have taken it. But now that they have gotten it, I expect them to pick more engage, more utility. That Galio has now risen in priority, and it looks like Photograph is throwing down the gauntlet early, selecting up Draven for another attempt at stomping this bot lane.
Yeah, so Photograph with their signature Draven pick yet again, which honestly was working out kind of well in game 1, but just ended up getting outskilled overall. And with Thresh on the board, it also means that Jinx, if they were to take it, would still be very much a safe pick here. And I know you said that you didn't really like the Lilia, so as Draven Braum, yet again, and Bobrovsky Rek'Sai. And I remember you said that you don't like the Lilia, and you hope that they don't pick the Lilia.
Yes, the Lilia, I think that it's been having, it's very weak in the level 1. It's not as strong as it was before, and it's been allowing Bobrovsky to play so heavily to the bot side because he can force the map split, because Lilia doesn't want to contest into a jungle matchup where she cannot easily fight back. So it's been putting their bot lane in a really disadvantageous position. They've been struggling to find a way to come back from that as much as possible. So going for a different jungle picks, going for something else in the mid. I expect if Galio isn't banned, that's probably going to be the mid lane that we're going to be seeing, and it's going to be really indexing on what Soxman has left in his wheelhouse that he can pick up to be effective, more so than just this Lilia scaling that they've been utilizing for the last 2 games.
And Udyr, they see the Thresh, they know that Jinx is on the board. Aphelios is also still available. But one of the big things here is that I'm thinking that there are still some very strong early game junglers on the board. The Volibear did get taken away. We've been seeing a lot of Xin Zhao lately. I'm not sure if Soxman plays the Xin Zhao. But seeing something other than the Lilia, more indexed towards, like the early aggression, might be the play here.
Yeah, and it looks like with what we've seen so far, they're drafting very, very aggressively. You know that the Ezreal is probably the likely pick, something safe, something survivable. Oh? The Yasuo is now being hovered. I don't think that's going to be the avenue that they're going to go into. Kog'Maw also seems unlikely, so they're probably going to go something else that's aggressive or extremely safe. The Crow's just trolling a little bit. It's most likely just going to be the
there it is.
Aphelios, as this is this was a Crow special for the last 2 seasons that he's been in FOF. He's played it a lot. This is one of his favorite AD carries, and it's really common to see it picked with Thresh. So this but into Draven is a very concern because Aphelios doesn't do very well with burst damage, and that's basically all Draven puts out.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things about Apheli Thresh is that, at least as far as from what I've heard, Apheli Thresh is the hey, we are just going to stomp bot lane on our own pick. It's basically broadcasting to the enemy team that you have the better 2v2 and that you believe in that and you're going to be playing to that. Now, that's a Talia pickup, and Talia, while on release, she was a very good mid laner, very much just indexed towards the jungle nowadays. So I'm guessing it's going to be Soximus on the Talia jungle. What do you think about the Talia here?
Well, it could either be Soximus taking the Talia jungle. They've definitely picked a lot of versatility. It can still play mid if that's the avenue that they want to go to, but I'm expecting that that's going to be the Talia jungle, and Soximus is going to let Big Twig take his Echo. But this is a very safe, survivable lane. These are very simple things to execute, and it looks like they're going to give Gunsy, or try to throw the thing on Gunsy to pick something that's where he can be useful, where he isn't going to be pressured as much early. And it looks like that avenue is going to be the bird is the word, as he's going to take the Anivia.
Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's still going to be Bob Joan on support.
Yes. So Bob. So the graphic does says Antunes, but those issues that prevented Antunes from playing Game 2 have persisted. So Bob Jones is going to be taking that Braum, and he is still going to be in. We'll find out when the game opens up to see where this Talia and Echo are going. I expect that the Echo is going to be mid and this Talia is going to be the jungle. But this is the opening of Game 3. It is time. We'll see whether or not OOD can bring it back and bring us to a Game 4, or will this just be the series ending with another Poseidon win?
And OD, they're just gonna be stacking up over here. One of the big things, honestly, that we see here is that there's very little wave clear from the side of Udyr. So if they get behind, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to get back into this game. If they're ahead, they can just kind of run at you with the Camille ulti and pick someone off. But if they get behind, it's almost guaranteed to be a game over. Like, there's very little that they can do from behind.
Absolutely. I do want to say that Gunsy taking this Anivia in this specific matchup is extremely disrespectful into what Big Twig can do. Echo is considered an Anivia counter for a reason. It's very difficult for Anivia to play around the blink from his E and how much damage he can put out in very quick trades. And honestly, Echo is not pressured very much by the wall since he has multiple ways of getting out of it. So he's really just saying, I'm going to lane better, and I'm not going to be punished. For a Talia, who if she finds this Anivia at any point, Anivia is so slow and bulky, she can just get hit by everything.
Yeah, and one of the big things, like, on top of that, Gunsy is taking Ignite in this matchup. Which, like, so personally, as someone who's, like, played a lot of Anivia, I don't like Ignite. I don't like Electrocute. Like, there's... You can definitely play to having, like, the quick burst trades. But against teams like this who just kind of want to run at you, lacking something like, Phase Rush ends up being really, really painful. But the Electrocute and the Ignite do allow you to have a decent bit of kill pressure early and quite a bit of lane pressure. Which is one of the things that Anivia does lack early on. Oh, hook landing on
the hook landing, but the Guardian is going to be there also, so there shouldn't be much of a follow-it after, but a really good hook on the side of Ecto, landing it early and getting a good trade. But you see how much damage can come out from this Draven as soon as he gets some room to auto. And if that Braum passive lands, that's probably all she wrote. As Django is just kind of moving into this enemy jungle, getting some vision now. Hasn't spotted the Rek'Sai that is behind him, so this could be Django getting in a little bit of trouble in the early swing, as Rek'Sai is already pinging out that the blue has not been taken yet.
Yeah, one of the big things here, though, is that, like, while Draven does put out quite a bit of burst damage, with Severum online, Aphelios is totally comfortable taking trades like that because he can just heal right up off of the minions and honestly shouldn't be that much of a problem. Kurdak's just going to continue to farm up, continue to trade with Django here. And Django having a very small CS lead. The wave's pushing right back to him, so shouldn't really be in any position to be getting ganked relatively soon. And still has the flash up, so pretty safe up here.
Absolutely. And Rek'Sai has spent a lot of time hanging around this top side. He's looking more for this double scuttle. He waited around so Talia could not get it. He was there on spawn, instantly picks it up, but that could have been very, very dangerous as now Talia is going to be spotted out into his base by Crit Addict, and this is going to be Crit in trouble. He has a long way to go, and a flash is going to be
Oh
forced out
boy.
by the Talia W. So the Unraveled Earth found it early as Big Twig is taking a bunch of punishment in this lane early.
Yeah, as we said, Echo does relatively well into the Anivia, generally considered a counter pick, but with Anivia taking the Electrocute and the Ignite early on, it does allow her to have that early pressure. Because Echo, in terms of early laning, is not a very strong champion. But once he gets hit level 6, when he gets a few items under his belt, then it becomes harder and harder for Anivia to do anything, because while she is this wave clear monster, Echo can just jump on top of her. And Gunsey just gonna start channeling his back in front of Soximus there. Does
A
not
bunch
mind.
Yeah, a bunch of damage trait landed onto Gunsey. He didn't even use his flash, so that gank didn't end up amounting to much. As now Soximus, who had just taken a base, is going to have to take another one. The advantage he managed to build up by some interesting pathing early is pretty much gone, as Rek'Sai has been farming consistently and is now looking for his first gank, her first gank, and she's going to be in the bottom portion of the river, trying to get into this back bush to find an angle. This is a really dangerous lane to gank. If you can't kill this Rom instantly and that charge lands, that's a lot of damage that can come out from the side of a Draven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really think they're going to be really looking to do too much, because you can't really dive this early on. Aphelios damage output, like right now, isn't that strong. Having Gravitum online means that the gank would be relatively easy to set up, but it's a matter of how much follow-up they're going to have.
This is
Photograph
going to
going
be
in
even
here.
how as Crow's taking a bunch of damage. The autos haven't managed to come through, and now the root is there. So Photograph did not manage to land that final auto that would have given him the big burst from the Braum passive and the stun. But now there's Soximus who's sitting on a pink ward who knows he's out of vision, but he is a little bit far behind in his path. He's about 2-3 camps behind, so he's going to need to do some clearing. And it looks like he's not going to find this early avenue, as Bobrovsky is going to be looking for this red for either a gank on this mid lane or a jungle invade.
Yeah, and Big Twig has already burned the TP. Gunsey is just very happily farming up in mid, continually harassing, getting that early pressure, trying to make sure that Big Twig has as little breathing room as possible, but they look to be collapsing here on Bobrovsky.
Yeah, Big Twig has been pushed in so much that he's reached level 6 first. So this is at a point in the lane where Echo really gets to be a punishing threat. He has some ability power under his belt. This is only level 4 junglers, so they're not huge threats to be onto these mid laners yet. So looks like Soximus is just going to be running to this Scuttle Crab, but he doesn't really have the priority to take this, and you already have Crit Addict running down. He's going to need to take this really quick, and he's missed the Q, so he's not even going to find that avenue there. As now, Crit Addict is just going to guard it until the Rek'Sai has arrived. So really unfortunate from the side of Soximus not being able to secure that another Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, and with the early lead that Anivia has racked up in this laning phase, it's pretty much just going to be Anivia has the control over the laning phase. She's going to continue to build up that lead until she dies once. And the moment she dies once, it's going to be Anivia dying on repeat. But it's a matter of getting to that point. Soximus has to make something happen here, but Ecto making something happen in Soximus' jungle.
Yeah, Soximus is in trouble. Didn't know Ecto was around the corner, so now he's going to be flashing out, and they're double flashing on him. Going to pick up the first blood, which is going to be landing onto the Thresh. So not the end of the world, but now you have Gunsey who's going to be chased out. He has no mana, so he cannot provide anything. As Photograph is getting those autos down, the flash is down onto the Thresh, so this is not anything provided. Photograph is trying his best to kite out, but the knockup has landed. Now the stun is landed. This is a bunch of damage for Draven. Draven is going to get that gold before he dies, so he is not in the worst spot in the world. But now you have the little bit of mana that Anivia have going to be used to burst out Camille, as this is a punishing play. Big Twig is here, but he is not going to be in the range to get any follow-up. So that series of events just really went into POG's favor, even though they did manage to pick up a kill onto the Draven that was very well needed.
Yeah, Draven crucially picking up a kill directly before his stacks fall off.
Oh no. Oh no. If you look at the map, you have Crow who's pushing completely by himself. He has heal flash available, but he's going to need to not get hit by seismic shove. Echo is already here. The zoning is there, so there shouldn't be much that Crow can do, as he's now going to be taking a bunch of damage. He's got the flash out. The stun is going to be landing onto Crit Addict. He's going to take a little bit of damage, but now they're going to be running. This is a 3v4. Bobrovsky is here. There's nothing further that can happen. The hook is not going to be dodged, so Ecto is going to land it, and now that's a bunch of damage, but Ecto is going to trade his life for it. A bunch of damage coming out for Photograph as he's managed to pick up the kill. Now Crow has no flash. He is in trouble. He's just going to be dropping. This kill is going to go over to Photograph, and OOD is going to pick up a small team fight win that's going to go completely in their advantage.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit concerned because Crow got so many crescendum stacks up, but the crescendum falls off. Crow loses all of their DPS, and Photograph picks up 3 kills. Third kill of the game, 2 more kills in that fight. And this Draven getting that early lead that we saw in the earlier games. The question is Bobrovsky going to be able to come down and just force Photograph off of that?
And Soximus has come down and forced himself to probably not be going into the grave, as he's going to barely make it out. Really aggressive trade. And that's only going to be 1 plate picked up by the Camille, but 2 picked up by the side of this Anivia, who is stacking a bunch of gold. She's 2-0 and already has a shutdown, as now Soximus is doing a good job keeping up in CS, but he has not found the avenues back in. And this is a really slow pacing that you'd expect from a Talia.
Yeah, and Talia, as we've seen lately, is more of the spam ganking. I'm literally everywhere on the map, moving at a billion miles an hour, sort of champion. But this Talia getting relatively outpaced by the Rek'Sai is kind of concerning. Photograph is very strong right now and on a very familiar champion for him, but it's going to be a big question as to how much impact is he really going to be having on this game. Because you have to deal with the death, you have to deal with death sentence, you have to deal with Anivia's wall and ultimate that are going to control so much space here.
Here we go. Gunsy is going to take a little bit of damage. The stun is going to land, so a bunch of trade damage is going to follow. That's going to force the ultimate out, but now he's still in the child, so he's going to be taking a bunch of damage. The Q's going to be up in just a moment, so Gunsy is going to have to get out, as Soximus is now showing, but Big Twig has not been able to find that passive proc that gives him the movement speed to get out. So another 1 trade on the side of Gunsy onto this Anivia pick, and it's really big for Echo, because as soon as he gets a little bit of AP, he's probably about an amp tome away for his Q just completely clearing the wave. So that is the point that Big Twig needs to reach, and he needs to protect his lane and not bleed any further.
Yeah, Bob Jones going in, getting hooked with Photograph.
That's the hook. The exhaust has landed, and Crow is taking the autos. Now the ultimates come through from Soximus. Crow is not going to make it. He's still healing and sustaining, but this is going to be both bot laners dying, as now this is going to be a attempted trade kill, as Soximus is going to face check into Bobrovsky and Gunsy. He is not going to live. This is a very, very low set of carries. The Q is going to be dodged on the side of Bob Jones, so he has not managed to pick it up. Now Photograph is going to be trying to kite it out. He's not going to get it, as the Rek'Sai ultimate is going to pick him up in a double kill from Gunsy, who was already massively ahead.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai going to be picking up that shutdown at the very end there. Now the way how this starts off is Bob Jones walking up, trying to make something happen on Crow, who's, as far as they're concerned, is standing there alone. Walks up, has to back off. Ecto gets a hook onto Braum there, but Braum is already ulted and they're already walking in. But crucially, Ecto cancels Bob Jones' auto on Crow for a while, to the point where they aren't able to stun him up in time until Soximus is the one who's picking up the kills. And at that point, Gunsy and Bobrovsky have already been able to get down into the bot lane because they've spent so much time trying to kill Crow. And it's just so much time.
A small miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a small miscommunication on the side of OOD, not picking out that the Anivia was moving. That's pretty obvious that she would be going there, so Soximus walking up. If Soximus lives there, they probably don't get anything, as he can zone out the rest. So that is a discouraging sign for the rest of the trajectory of this game, but they have been managing to find plays back-to-back and haven't fallen super far behind in a in an elimination game. So I think OOD does still have a chance. Django has been finding a decent lane for himself, and anytime Camille can free farm, she's pretty happy. So if they can find something into this top side, that could be another avenue back in.
Yeah, and one of the big things about Set as a champion is that he's very good at dealing with frontliners and making sure that the enemy team can't really position properly. But Camille, as a split pusher, is going to make sure that Set is constantly in the side lane, and I don't think that they're really going to be looking to do those kinds of big team fights where Set is going to be able to shine with that disruption. Photograph is going to be left mostly on his own in terms of peeling and positioning. Oh,
Oh no,
Crow?
that's gonna be the landing. Crow's gonna be in trouble. The flashes come in, and that last auto almost put it down. Now you have the play. Now Photograph is flashing in. He's gonna pick it up, and now he has no tower aggro yet, and the sacks are already on him. So that's a bunch of damage onto Thresh as Photograph has been walking out. The stun is almost gonna land. One more auto, and Photograph is gonna get it, and it looks like he's gonna be walking out. Can't take the tower any longer, as now Fat Ecto is really under the tower back himself. If this hook lands, actually, this could be it, as the auto attack is not gonna land, and Photograph is gonna pick it up. Please, Photograph. You just need to not die to
Oh
Anivia.
no.
That is the only goal right now. As Anivia is flashing in, the heal has come out. The R is there, but the wall has prevented Bob Jones from getting up. Anivia is still on the slow field, so she is going to be taking quite a bit of time to catch up. Bob Jones is going to look to juke in the opposite direction. It looks like he's given his life. He's trying to find another way out. He's taking the tower. He's not going to have enough, as that's going to be another kill. 6 kills already for the side of Gunsey, who is 6-0 with a Medjai stacking up. As now this fighting is not over. Bobrovsky is caught in the corner, and he is not going to make it out, as that is a bunch of damage being filled. He almost gets a trade kill onto Big Twig, but he could not find it, as Django still has a bunch of health. He still has a health bar to work with, and there's plenty of advantages left. The all are back in is not going to be Big Twig. He's going to use it to zone and flashed out, so he has not made it, and Crow has not picked up anything, so that's still this first game that we've had where the bot lane has not found any advantages, and it's going to be all on Gunsey to be a big carry.
Yeah, and Gunsey getting that double kill in the bot lane was incredibly important there. But Bob Jones, unfortunately, didn't walk up far enough to block the Anivia E.
Really good stand
like
aside from the side of Photograph. He knew that Gunsey was there and prevented the R from coming out, so he doesn't get any damage from it. That's something that could be really useful in these team fights, if that stand aside can prevent Gunsey from being able to stack his R, as now he's kind of walking aimlessly, looking as this is going to be found, and Crow's going to get knocked in. He is just having a monster time and not going to find any avenue, as Soximus is going to basically pick up a solo kill, as Crow continues to struggle on this Aphelios pick.
Yeah, the Aphelios pick coming out, it's definitely a comfort pick, as we said, and Aphelios Thresh tends to be relatively strong. Unfortunately, it seems that telling the enemy team, hey, you should hit us, tends to be a relatively strong taunt, and everyone's been picking up on the spot lane at this point. And Gunsey, the benefactor of this, has managed to have a relatively free laning phase, enjoying the fruits of his own labor with 6 kills, Luden's Echo, and 12 stacks on the Medjais at this point. Yeah, this bird's going to be really scary, and unfortunately, Crow, while last game was the Crow Show and Friends, this game is looking to be more of Gunsey.
And this game is God Save the Bot Lane, as that's a bunch of damage coming onto Photograph, but he is still alive. That's a bunch of damage. If this stun pops onto Bobrovsky, he could just die, as Photograph picks up the skill. The flay is there, but it's still all the autos are coming out. And Draven is just refusing to die, as that is going to be the pick up from the side of Aphelios, but a huge amount of damage, as now Crit Addict is in trouble, and a flash from Django is going to be there, and the Q is going to give him enough move speed to get out, but that could almost be a 2v1 kill, as Django's going back in. He's not done yet. He got the Anivia into the passive. Now that's going to be, he's going to get the extra Q onto him. He's going to need to use this E effectively and dodge Gunsey. Is this anything further, as Gunsey is looking for the chase, but Anivia is extremely slow, as Django is looking to find it. The Q lands out of vision, and a long range E is going to get him for protection. A 2v1 kill, as now this is not the end of it. Crow is taking a bunch of damage from Soximus, and that is another Dark Harvest attack, as he's going to go right to the gray screen, as Soximus has found it, and multiple kills across the map.
Honestly, right there, you get a lot of what should be relatively good plays from Poseidon Gaming, but Udyr literally just decided that it does not matter because we just have the better players, and they literally just say, hey, we have the mechanical skill, we're just going to outplay, I don't care if it's 2v1, 3v1, we're going to get as much as we can out of this. And they pick up the kill on Crow, they pick up the kill on the Ecto, they kill Bobrovsky, they kill Crit Addict, and they're setting up the Dragon here. And this is going to be either a Mountain Soul or it's either going to be Mountain or Cloud. And because it's Mountain, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to kill Photograph if they manage to get that Mountain Soul.
Yeah, this is a really, really disastrous game, honestly, for how POG has been playing. They have not gotten the same advantages that they've been expecting. All of their gold is basically congested onto this Anivia, so any team
Mhm.
fight that she's not at, imagine the gold disadvantage that they're at. They're already 2,000 gold behind. If Anivia is not there, there could easily be like a 4 to 5,000 gold advantage in these other lanes. So that they are really going to need to be able to protect Anivia and make sure she can dish out a lot of damage, as she's now by herself in a lane. That
Oh.
Q is going to land onto Bob Jones, but the tower is going to go down. And Django has now been caught out. He is taking a bunch of damage, and the E is going to prevent anything further, but Soximus is here. And the Seismic Shot is not going to do enough, but that's going to one-shot the Rek'Sai as the trade kill is going to be available. But look at how much damage this Talia is now doing, as she's a level up on
Mhm.
crit addict.
Yeah, like they've been spending so much. They spent so many people there. They brought 3 people up to the top lane, managed to get
Oh
1 kill,
no,
which ended
they
up getting
found
traded.
Gunsy. Gunsy has no passive. This is a big shutdown that's going to go over 750 gold
Oh
into the
boy.
pocket of this Draven. And the Adoration is cashing in, and Photograph is happy of how much gold he has in his pocket. And that is a big shutdown to give over on the side of Gunsy.
Yeah, at this point, just take a photograph of that wallet because he is making bank. Like, how much is that? 10,000 gold on the Draven, in comparison to Crow's 6.7k. Like that
Yeah, he
is
is the gold leader of the game. He's ahead of this Anivia
ridiculous.
now.
And this Draven is doing so much work. And while in game one, we had an unfortunate amount of we had an unfortunate game for Photograph. Photograph is saying, "Hey, you guys haven't been banning my Draven. I know it hasn't shown up yet, but let me show you why this is my pick."
The draft adaptations for OOD have definitely been effective, as you see. All the players who have been struggling, Soximus, Photograph, even Big Twig, are now doing much, much better, getting
Mhm.
a different look in there. And now Bobrovsky on his patented Rek'Sai, and when Rek'Sai is behind, this champion is basically a walking scuttle crab. So
Yeah.
he's gonna need to find, and he's going more lethality. He's looking to just be a one-shot burst target. As now they're gonna find Gunsy. This is a bunch of damage onto Bob Jones, but he can just walk out with Guardian. He'll be fine.
Mhm.
As now Django is looking for Crit Addict, who has still been struggling. As that's gonna be the knockup. The Q2 is there, and now Soximus is
Oh.
coming in with the R, who is not gonna be landing it, but the wall is also gonna be available. Gunsy is gonna be there first, so now Soximus is in trouble. The root has landed, and that is a dead Talia, as a shutdown has gone over for the side of Talia. And Gunsy is picking up another kill, so he's back to 6 stacks. He lost all of his stacks when Photograph killed him, so very well played for the side of Gunsy to pick up another kill.
Yeah, good stuff from Gunsy. That's 7 kills on the Anivia at this point. Photograph, still, relatively far ahead. Hasn't gotten the Infinity Edge yet. And like we said before this game started, Udyr, they have a very scary team comp if they get ahead. If they get ahead, they can just kind of run at you and slap you with their wallets. But if you don't get ahead on this team comp, if you get behind, you just lose. So right now, while it might look like, okay, Udyr's in a really good position to win right now, this is what we expected. This is what they had to do. Like, this is the requirement. So, POG still definitely have a way back into this game. If you take the Draven off the map, if you take the Camille off the map, all of a sudden, that gold lead gets diminished by a significant amount. And there's definitely a lot of stuff that you still can do. And Aphelios will still scale. Maybe not quite as hard as Jinx will or Tristana will, but Aphelios still will be doing a lot of damage in the later stages of the game. And should be able to outrange the Draven as long as you got like Calibrum up, or outdamage him if you have stuff like Crescendum.
A lot that this Aphelios could still do once that Hurricane comes in. It looks like he's not far away from him at the moment, but once that IE comes in for the side of Draven, that's going to be his really big power spike. He has 3 crit items. He's going to be sitting on 60%. Massive high AD crits could easily pop the Draven or pop the Sinivia. So these team fights and how they execute it is going to be very, very important. As fact, Ecto's going to get his base cancel, so that's 25 seconds before Dragon spawns, and he's going to be very late if he chooses to continue to base, as this is a decent setup for the side of OOD since they are here first.
Yeah, and one of the big things about that base cancel is that means that Ecto will have no wards for this dragon fight, so they have very little way how to get vision here. Bob Jones going to be caught out a little bit by Gunsy, but does not matter because Braum can just use stand behind me to get right on out of there.
Yeah, Braum is probably one of the supports that is not as vulnerable as you have Bobrovsky, who's just kind of meandering through into this jungle. He's gonna die instantly, and this is gonna be now Crow. His life is
Oh
just gone.
boy.
Goodbye, Crow. Is that's gonna be Django picking it up? Really lazy on the side of POJ. How they're walking into that setup. You have the Rek'Sai just walking in, like with no
Mhm.
concern in the world, and now you've lost your jungler who just. I don't even know what's happening, but that's gonna give Baron over to the side of OOD.
Yeah, and just like that, like we said, if OOD managed to get ahead, they're just gonna run on in and slap you with their wallets. Like there's very little that there's not that much that you can do about that. But like this is what this is what they had to do. Um, the
Absolutely, and look at that. That was a disgustingly
Mhm.
fast Baron. 20 minutes, and they do it in around 30 seconds? That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the Infinity Edge on photograph. Let's see if he's getting anything else. Okay, so we're gonna see the stopwatch. Nice pickup here. And that's almost a death cap on Soximus's Talia here.
Yeah, live by the Gunsy, die by the Gunsy. But the reason Anivia hasn't been seen in the meta is because she rarely suffered from the Seraph's Embrace changes. She needs
Mhm,
that shield was really big for her. Plus, she was a Rod of Ages user, and with that items being removed, that's a lot of HP that she doesn't have.
mhm,
She's very, very squishy. And into a team comp where you have a bunch of dive buddies, a bunch of disruptions, a bunch of damage. If she gets hit by the W from Soximus, that's all she wrote. So
mhm.
this is going to be really interesting to see how OD is going to look to extend their advantages with Draven being as strong as he's ever gonna get.
Yeah, and like one of the big things with Anivia, right, is that you mentioned she's a Rod of Ages user. One of the big reasons why she's a Rod of Ages user is because she has one of the lowest HP values of any champion in the game. And
It looks
it's
like
hurting
Crit
her
is about
so
to have
much.
a pretty low HP value. As he's caught out, he's going to be sitting at 0 in just a moment as Soximus is going to pick it up. And that is a dangerous kill to give over because you have your Anivia sitting in the top side. There's no
Mhm,
wave clear in this bot lane. And they're going to be looking to converge onto bot side, onto mid lane now. But Bobrovsky is spotted. Gunsy is trying to meander his way over to stop the Camille. But this Camille is going to wreck this tower in the short amount of time she's had the free fire. As now she's going to be in trouble. The wall is going to block Django from getting his full extended E, but that's not going to be enough to prevent it. As now Photograph has gotten some Dottos down. This is going to be Gunsy protecting up the tower. The waves are all shoved in. This is
mhm.
OOD doing an immaculate job at shoving in every wave at the same time.
Yeah, and at this point, Gunsy's your only real wave clear, but there's only so much Anivia can do with one of the slowest space move speeds in the entire game. If Gunsy is your
Oh
only
no, that's going to
Oh,
be the stun. The stun is close to landing onto Crow. He is taking a bunch of damage, but it looks like it is not going to be enough as
mhm,
once again Anivia is slowly moving her way over and she hasn't really been able to find her avenues in. Crit Addict has been in a little bit of trouble. He hasn't found any significant advantages into Django, who has played a very well played game. And with these towers having already dropped, this next Baron is going to be really big, and it's only 24 minutes into the game.
And like I said earlier, one of the big things that Set brings to a team is that he's very good at disrupting front to back team fights. But with Camille on split push duty, there's very little that Set can really do. Because if Camille's not behind, then she can just stay on a side lane, and there's not that much that Set can do in terms of equalizing the 1v1. And if he can't get those front to back 5v5 team fight disruptions, then what is he really going to end up doing in these fights? And the Camille was
Absolutely.
picked blind from Django, so they know that Django is going to be very confident on this Camille pick. And they picked the set from Crit Addict in response, but it doesn't seem like it's really going to be the answer here.
This is not going to be the answer either. As Fat Ecto's getting caught out, it looks like the Flay is going to be enough as Django is not going to opt to commit the Hextech ultimatum, as that would have been quite greedy
Mhm.
for a Thresh kill. But if you look at the items that have been collected up, all these champions have managed to pick up a decent amount of gold. Even Big Twig, who suffered a little bit in lane, has 2 items. He is a threat. He could easily burst out this Anivia, who is
Mhm.
not not very high damage unless she gets that sustained damage out from her ultimate. So this is going to be very difficult for POG to fight back if they're corralled into their base, and this is going to basically risking taking too many autos from Photograph and dying instantly.
One of the big things about this Anivia build is that she is fully itemizing towards the burst damage here, which honestly I don't necessarily agree with because you already have the Rek'Sai who's already itemizing into burst damage. You are playing into Photograph who's going to have the shield bow. You're playing into Echo who has the Luden's Echo. Tilia is also going to be picking up Luden's Echo. There's just so much that is
Oh my god. Look at
using
these
to
crits, man.
mitigate the burst. Yeah, like, he's doing so much damage, and he's going to be mitigating all that burst with the shield bow proc. Like, I don't think the burst is the way to really itemize here. But after going electrocute and Luden's Echo, like, there's just not much else in terms of decision that you can really make in terms of build.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're in a situation where Draven is probably one of the worst AD carries to play against as an Anivia because, yes, you can block him off with your W, but he can easily just cancel your ultimate with stand aside as long as it's available. So, not very many AD carries have that type of utility in their kit to prevent Anivia from just bursting them. But now you have Big Twig who's sitting. He's going to get the chunk onto Bobrovsky. His R is still available, but it looks like he's going to go out very, very slowly as Camille's coming in. The teleports are going to be late. He's going to opt to go for Bobrovsky, as that is opted to be the easier target. But the R is going to keep Bobrovsky off for a lot of time. But Q2 is going to pick it up. Django is running, and now Big Twig is going to be there. He's going to tank up that ultimate. It looks like Big Twig is going to be the one who gives his life for this, as he's now sitting in Hourglass with Django, who's still alive, but another shutdown onto this Anivia, and it looks like they're kind of being corralled in. Soximus should just use his R here and try to prevent them from walking back to their base, because there's no one who's stopping Photograph, who's already onto this bot lane inhibitor.
Like, at this point, Poseidon, they're trying to make some plays. They're trying to get some picks every now and then.
That's going to be Crow.
And
he is just going to be one shot by Soximus, waiting over the wall with that seismic shove, and that's going to be all she wrote for the side of the Sadie carry.
Yeah, and like I said, POG, they're trying to make some plays, trying to make something happen every now and then. But you're committing for top lane. You're losing your inhib bot. You're in the position to lose your mid inhib tower as well, and Crow's just getting one shot by Soximus there just illustrates just how this game's been going. Like, this team is doing so much damage, and it's very hard to do much about it.
Absolutely. This is the first game where the bot lane for POG hasn't been massively advantageous. They haven't found their usual 2v2 kills, and when they're in a position where they're behind, they've been suffering a lot from not having the pressure that they've been expecting, and Gunsey just hasn't had any real avenues to do enough to be able to come back and be the sole damage threat, because right now the Cephalios, he's a scaling champion, but he's not doing more damage than Draven right now. So like, you're waiting for basically Gunsey to do everything, and he's so squishy, he has to play so safe.
Yeah, and one of the big things here is that you're playing into the team you're playing into has an incredibly fed Draven and an incredibly fed Talia. So that's both magic and physical damage